Hi, this is Paul. I'm coming back with TTM episode number 26. So we're going to get started here. The first one is a 4-4 or 23 days from Saints Hall of Famer Bobby Hebert. He signed his Atlanta Falcons logo photo and inscribed it 94 Pro Bowl. Then he signed this New Orleans Saints logo photo. He personalized, which is fine. He put his Saints Hall of Fame inscription, 1999. Then he signed this Michigan Panthers logo photo. They were original USFL team, the first incarnation. They were the 93 USFL champs, and he was the first USFL MVP with the Michigan Panthers. That was before he went to the NFL. And then a couple years later, they moved to the Oakland. They became the Oakland Invaders. They had a lot of financial hardship. I think the only one that had money in that league was Trump. But he went to the USFL championship game with the Oakland Invaders, and that was the last one because then the league folded. So thank you, Mr. Hebert. And the next one is 2 or 3 or 61 days from Manny Mota. He signed his Dodgers logo photo. And then he signed this Pittsburgh Pirates logo photo. Shout out to Math Bowler. The one he didn't sign was a San Francisco Giants logo photo, and I sent it back out to Dwayne Kuiper at Giant Spring Training with an 81 tops. Hopefully, I'll get it back. So, next one is a 1-on-1 in 5 days from Roberto Hernandez and this 92 Flair rookie prospects card. Next one is a 1-on-1 in 6 days on these 90 tops manager card of Doug Rader. Next one is a 1-on-1 in 7 days from Don Robinson on his 91 Fleer Ultra. The next one is a 3-on-1 from Olympic gold medal winner Dan Jansen for speed skating. He signed this NBC Sports Olympic logo photo because he did do broadcasting work when they with the Olympics for speed skating. Then he signed this index card with the 94 gold, which he won a Lillehammer, France. And then he signed this 46 World Cup golds as a speed skater. So I'm going to tie in speed skating with baseball. The Mets in 2024, at the end of the season, had Eddie Alvarez. He came after September, so he wasn't on the postseason roster. But Eddie Alvarez was an Olympic speed skater, and he also played for the Marlins as well. So, but we're going to go back about 50 years to a New York baseball icon, and shout out to Mets and Yankee fans, Lee Mazzilli. Actually, Lee Mazzilli, I grew up about 5 blocks with Lee Mazzilli. He actually went to high school with my brother. My brother graduated high school in 72. Maz graduated high school in 73. And he was a first-round pick of the Mets in 73. And he was actually besides being a switch hitter, he was also a switch thrower. But when the Mets drafted him, they made him an outfielder. They could have made him a pitcher. Decided to make him an outfielder. He had a decent career. He didn't live up to expectations. He was a 79 All-Star with the Mets. When he was at the Mets the first time, the Mets were pretty bad. He came up the end of the 76 season, and then in 77 was when all heck broke loose, when they traded Tom Seaver. Joe Torre was player manager. They traded Kingman. And so the Mets were pretty bad for several years. He was an All-Star in 79. And actually, in that 79 All-Star game in Seattle, Dave Parker, shout out to Math Bowler again, Dave Parker was the All-Star game MVP for an unbelievable throw he made. But Mazzilli actually had gotten a game-tying home run and also drew the bases go-ahead walk. But again, he did not get the 79 All-Star game MVP. But Mavs was part of a big trade during spring training of 82. The Mets had, some young players, and they traded Lee Mazzilli to the Texas Rangers, and they got back Mets Hall of Famer Ron Darling and Walt Terrell. Of course, I don't have to tell you about Ron Darling, and he's a Mets Hall of Famer. And then Walt Terrell had some decent seasons pitching for the Mets. But prior to the '85 season, he was traded to Detroit for Hojo, Howard Johnson. So, and then in '86, Lee Mazzilli came back to the Mets, and he was a bench player and got some key hits in the postseason. And that's it. But the story with Lee Mazzilli was that Lee Mazzilli could have been an Olympic, actually qualified for the Olympics, Winter Olympics as a speed skater in 1972 in Sapporo, Japan, but opted to play baseball, so he did not go. But he could have been a gold medal speed skater as well. So that's my Lee Mazzilli story. He has ties to New York baseball for both the Mets and the Yankees. He didn't have a long playing career for the Mets, for the Yankees. He played like half the season in '82. The Yankees had gotten him from Texas. Shout out to Chase. They had got him from Texas for Bucky Dent, and then they traded him to Pittsburgh, and he played a few years for Pittsburgh, but the Pirates released him because they had this. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy by the name of Barry Bonds. But he essentially, when Barry Bonds came up in '86, they released Mazzilli. Then Mazzilli went and signed a minor league deal with the Mets, and eventually got promoted to the Mets in '86 when the Mets released George Foster, and that's a story in itself. So I'm not going to go any further with that. So and he of course went on to actually broadcast for the Mets a little. He was in the first in-studio broadcast for SNY in 2006. And then he would fill in on WR radio when Howie Rose was out having surgery. But Mazzilli was also part of Joe Torre's coaching staff and won a couple rings with the Yankees as the first base coach. And then, of course, he did manage the Baltimore Orioles in 2004 and 2005. It wasn't really successful for him. That was his only managerial job. And then after that, he really never put on a uniform again. So, but he's a New York baseball icon for what he did for both the Mets and the Yankees. So the next one is a 2-2 in 50 days from Rich Yet. He signed the '88 Tops. And then he signed this '90 Fleer checklist. He signed it under his name. And then on the other side, I have signatures of Jeff Mano, Jerry Reed, and Bill Dawley. So, and I'll probably send that back out again. And the next one is a 3-3 in 11 days from the Governor, Jerry Brown. He signed this '91 Fleer Ultra. He signed this '92 Fleer. And then he signed this '90 Fleer checklist that's also signed by Rick Rona. And the reason why Jerry Brown is called the Governor, because he was nicknamed by Chris Berman, because in the late '70s and early '80s, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Linda Ronstadt dated Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California. So that's how Jerry Brown, the baseball player, got his nickname from Chris Berman. He called him every time he showed Chris on Baseball Tonight. When he'd show a Jerry Brown highlight, he'd say the Governor. So that's how he got his nickname, the Governor. Next one is a 3-3 in 12 days from Bill Swift. He signed a '92 Fleer. He signed a '93 Fleer when he was with the Giants, and he signed the stadium. I dropped it. I'm sorry. He signed this '92 Stadium Club, and Bill Swift, when he was with the Giants, did win the ERA title. And then the last one, let me have a little pre-story here. But the last video in TTM episode number 25, I had mentioned that Charlie Spikes was part of the trade. He was one of 4 players traded to Cleveland for Craig Nettles. The player I left out was John Ellis. So that was it. And then he didn't sign the Cleveland or Yankee logo photo, but Deion James did. We got a 4-3 in 5 days from Deion James. He signed a 90 Donruss. Then he signed this Cleveland Indians logo photo. I asked him to inscribe his years. He didn't. That was the one I got back unsigned from Charlie Spikes. And then the Yankee logo photo I got back from Charlie Spikes unsigned. He signed the Yankee logo photo. I had asked him to describe 95 AL wild card. He didn't. And then he sent me this 93 Donruss, I guess, for not inscribing. So other than that, that's it. Like, comments, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.